it's a really good fight. Listen, Kakashi is a bit of is a bit of an animal, heavy-handed. Everybody you speak to, everybody that's sparred with him tells you he can really, really punch. And we saw last time out he can punch. Josh Warrington, a lot of us, me included, all wrote him off as wear and tear, damaged goods. He's come to that stage of his career now. He's not the same fighter. And then I'll be honest with you, the fight against Lee Wood, that's the best I've seen him for a long time, apart from the ending. And up until that point, we was watching it and thinking, look great. He looks really good. He looks sharp. He looks fresh. It wasn't just standing there taking shots. He was raiding. It was good. It was very, very good. I think that version of Warrington beats Cacace. But the ending was quite damaging. At this stage of your career, the ending was quite damaging. On top of the fights that he's had previously as well, when fighters get to this sort of stage of the careers, you've got to think how much is left. Like I said, that was a surprise last time out with Warrington. With Lee Wood. But I don't know. I don't know what's still there. He'll be up for it. He'll be as fit as a fiddle. He'll be on top of his game in them sort of terms, because he's got a shot now. Do you know what I mean? From kind of being in wilderness and waiting on, does the rematch happen with Lee Wood? Without that, where's his in? He's now got an in, and so he'll been buzzing in camp. He'll been buzzing in training, and so he'll be ready. But now, same goes for Anthony Cacace, is that he's kind of like, he's been around a long time. He's had a great reputation in the gyms, but he never had that break. He never had that big fight. He never had that exposure. And now he's had it, and he's become champ, and he beat Cordina, and his confidence will be massive now. His belief, he'll be happy in his career and everything he's accomplished. And now he's in the big fights. He'll understand what's right in front of him, especially now he's on the Riyadh season shows and things like that. So he's going to be a better fighter. So this makes a really, really good fight. A really good fight. I don't know, but I'm gonna say, if we've got the Warrington of Lee Wood, apart from the ending, I think he wins. I think Warrington wins. I think he's got one more in him, but I genuinely don't know, because I just feel that Cacace will be better now. But I'm gonna lean towards Warrington, I think.
Would you back that as a points victory?
Oh, yeah. I think either Josh wins on points, or Cacace knocks him out.
Listen, you can never write off Josh Warrington. I rate Josh highly. I feel like the fight with Lee Wood, when he lost the point, it knocked him off, and he lost his head a bit, went in for the kill, and that cost him. But he's a force to be reckoned with, Josh, man. He's a serious operator, so I believe he's gonna win. He's gonna come out like a warrior, like he does, and just put pressure on him, and I believe he wins the fight, man.
Yeah, I think it's good for Cacace that he gets to somebody like Josh Warrington now. I think that it is a little bit of a journey. He's my weight, and I know what, I've got no friends who are my weight, and I never will have. I'm just that type of guy. But I couldn't help but be happy for him. Where to see him win that world title. When I seen the videos that he went back to his little place in Belfast, and all the community were there for him, supporting him. It's just a fantastic story. So I'm happy for him. I hope he does the same with Josh. I hope he trains his hard. I've seen a bit of footage of him saying that he doesn't really train that hard. I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, I hope he found his belief in himself when he won them world titles, and he goes on to become a better fighter, more confident fighter. But Josh Warrington's going to be a tough fight. He's a tough fight for anyone, and we have to see where Josh is. Right now we think his confidence might be in his boots. He had 1-2 fights out of his last 5.
Mhm.
And it's good that he is coming back in a world title fight, because I don't know if he could be up for it to start again. So I think he's got people around him to thank for that one. His fan base, his loyal fan base, and his promotional company, who have been massive, I think, all along, who've gotten these opportunities. So yeah, I think it'll be an amazing fight. And while it lasts, do we see it going the distance? I actually do not see it going the distance, and I could see that going any way. I could see Warrington outworking him, work rate, or I could see Warrington getting actually putting Warrington asleep, like he did with Joe Cordina. So I think it's a fantastic fight, yeah, on a fantastic card.
He's as fired up as he is for every fight, and he's moving up a weight. We know, and Anto's not shy of saying that he struggles with a weight. Whereas Josh is moving up. Josh still did featherweight good. So for Josh to move up a weight, naturally that the weight is going to suit Josh. And yeah, obviously I'm always going to back Josh. I see him every day, see how hard he trains, how determined he is, how hungry he still is. So, and in his, although he lost to Lee Wood, look at the performance. People were writing Josh off against Lee, saying Josh is finished, he's not what he was. But look at look past the decision, look at the performance. His performance were outstanding. So I think people again have been a bit blinded by just the decision. And we know as a team we've sat down and discussed why that happened. And again, he's put it behind him and he's looking to move forward, and a new challenge is in front of him. So, I'm probably the wrong person to ask, because I'm always going to have Josh's back.
I think it's a really good fight. Crash, bang, wallop. It's a brilliant fight. Josh Warrington's never in a boring fight, is he? Underappreciated guy, Josh Warrington. I mean, people don't say, oh, he lost against Lee Wood, but he was ahead on the cards in that fight. He lost against that
Lopez.
That was a really close fight, by the way. That was a really, really close fight. He won the second. He lost the first half, but he won the second half of that fight. Who else did Warrington hit? He got knocked out, didn't he, by Mauricio Lara. But Josh Warrington's still fit. He's still strong-willed. I think he's above weight, isn't it? So like it's he's. I have a feeling that Josh Warrington could win that fight.
Has Josh been inactive a little bit? He's had a couple of fights fell through, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think it's nearly been a year since we last saw Josh Warrington in the ring.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going with Cacace.
Any in particular method?
Just because of his confidence, where he'll be after beating Joe Cordina. And I don't know too much about him. And Josh has been around a little while now. Still got good fight in him, but leaves himself open a little bit. Great fight. Can't wait.
And then we move on up the card on BoxRec order. Anthony Cacace, Josh Warrington, a fight that no one was really calling for a couple of years ago, but has become one of the most intriguing and exciting and compelling fights on the show. Anthony Cacace, of course, coming off that big win over Joe Cordina, similar to Hutchinson, an upset win, but now a world champion, already had the IBO belt, but took the more highly regarded IBF title from Cordina, and goes in defending against a former world champion in his own right, in Josh Warrington, who just a couple of years ago was, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in Britain, arguably. Has had patchy form since then, problems with injuries. I will happily go first on this one. I think Cacace's been underrated for a long time. Very good amateur, hard hitting, but also technically sound. Awkward operator, rough and tough, and pretty good on the inside for someone tall and rangy as well. Even so, I still expected Cordina to come through. I don't know if I appreciated how much Cordina was struggling at the weight at this point in his career. I guess maybe we'll see when he fights Shakur Stevenson next month at lightweight. But this one at super feather, I think Cacace is going to come in full of confidence. He'll feel that he's finally proved the point that, he is a genuine world-class operator, something that he will say he knew already. I know he came very close to beating Martin J. Ward in what was a kind of a jumping off point for world level at that point. And then you've got Warrington, who for him, I guess, last chance saloon in a lot of ways. You know, he was winning that fight with Lee Wood before Wood found the punches to get him out of there, a stoppage that Warrington still disputes. He's been a world champion. He's fought at the highest level. He succeeded at the highest level. Who can forget the gripping win over Carl Frampton all those years ago, really close to Christmas, but excellent fight, put everyone in the right spirit for the festive season. And this fight, in my view, very much comes down to, and this is no disrespect to Cacace, how much Warrington or how much of the old Warrington is still there. I don't know if there's going to be quite enough to fend off Cacace, who, albeit, you know, the wrong side of 30, if you like, from someone who's the wrong side of 40, who is in the form of his career, the form of his life. I think Cacace comes out on top. I think probably a late stoppage. It could be points, but I think more likely a late stoppage. I think Warrington will give his absolute everything, as he normally does. But I think Cacace is smart enough, savvy enough, and hard-hitting enough to pick him off when it counts, maybe even overcoming a points deficit to do so.
Danny, we've agreed on the last fight, but I think this is where we split in our opinion, and this is where we're going to have some intrigue looking back on this fight, because I'm going with Josh Warrington here. I'm glad you mentioned the past, because Cacace was a fighter. When I was first coming into the boxing scene, my first show was Midlands Mayhem, and that was the show where he challenged for the British title against Sam Bowen, and he wasn't favoured in that fight. And I remember asking a friend of mine, Steve Wellings, a little bit about, as I do with Irish fighters, where I've got a bit of a knowledge gap on, and I say, what do you know about this Anthony Cacace? He says to me, look, he's got all the talent in the world. What you got to question is his drive, if he really wants it. There's kind of conversations as to him getting in the gym, his commitment to the sport, and whether he really wants to climb the ladder, because maybe boxing isn't really for him. And on that night, rewind actually a little bit before I got the chance to interview him, and asked him, like, you know, what's going to happen in this fight? What happens if you lose? And he said to me, and it's been the most convinced I ever have been of a fighter when they say this, says, I won't lose. Like, I'm going to win that fight. And he did win on that night. He beat Sam Bowen. It was a real good fight. And I wanted to see him get an opportunity high up the chain. It's taken a long time for him to get it, but he seized his opportunity against Joe Cordina, and he won the world title. Against Josh Warrington, I think Josh gets a little bit of a rough ride as to his last couple of fights. Like the Lee Wood fight, sure, it ended in a dramatic and brutal finish and stoppage there from the referee. But the way that Josh recounted to me how the stoppage happened and how he was still there, maybe his body betrayed him, but his mind was still there, give me the confidence that Josh, you know, maybe should have got the benefit of the doubt, especially as it was right at the final bell. And in the way that he fought against Luis Alberto Lopez, I still, even though Alberto Lopez has now since lost to Angelo Lea, I think still puts him in high regard, that he still can compete at a real high level. He does have to watch out for the big shot from Anthony Cacace, but I feel that that fight with Cordina does somewhat flatter him a little bit. When it comes to that fight and the way it ended, there was that bit of a controversy with the break and the shot after the break was called, which kind of, look, I feel that the fight was going to go that way anyways, but I feel that it contributed to the way the fight happened. It sped up that finish there. But Warrington has to watch out for that. When it comes to commitment of Cacace and whether he wants it, this is where it plays into Josh Warrington's hands, I feel, with the style that he has. Josh Warrington has never really changed his style, has never really wanted to kind of add any sort of facets to the game. His game is his game. He's going to fight, he's going to throw, and he's going to smother. And I wonder, in those moments, will Cacace rise to that, or will he get smothered by the tsunami, if you will, of Josh Warrington's barrage of punches? And I think that's going to be the undoing for him. I think the volume from Josh Warrington is going to undo, and I don't think Cacace will be able to catch up to that. I think it's a point of victory for Josh Warrington on the scorecards against Anthony Cacace.
I think you have to refer to it as a tsunami, like that, as a WWE fan like myself.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one. It's a weird one because I think just before I got on with you, I read something saying they knew like a month before, so they've had time to digest it. So I guess they've had to get over it and do what they're doing. But I think for Cacace, where you just said he can still lose it, that's obviously going to give him a bit more of a reason to, you know, fight harder. Josh Warrington, I mean, in his case, it's like, okay, I had a chance to become 3-time world champion, and now even if I win this fight, I'm not. But I guess it's still a fight neither want to lose. So look, let's just hope that we get the best out of them. Warrington hasn't really looked, you know, the best. He hasn't looked like the Warrington of old that, you know, we saw him like running through fighters and doing things. I'm not sure if he won his last fight. Did he win his last fight? Was it a good win? No, he lost to Lee Wood.
Yeah, Lee Wood, yeah.
Lost to Lee Wood. Yeah, and he was winning that fight, in my opinion. And then he just got clipped. I mean, that's Lee Wood for you, isn't it? It's the same thing with Conlon and stuff. So yeah, he just hasn't looked the same to me. And Cacace just had a great win the other day with Joe Cordina. That was a solid win. So his confidence is going to be sky high. He's going to be, you know, that extra percentage of performance is going to come out of him. He's going to be able to perform that a little better because he feels like he is the man. It's going to be confidence being all over him, and he carries power as well, as you can see him. Josh Warrington's a dog, man. He's going to go in there and let his hands go. But we have seen he can be hurt. We've seen him hurt a few times now. So I think he's got to be careful of what's coming back because Cacace's shown that he's got real power. So I like Josh Warrington as a fighter and I love his career and stuff. But I mean, just put my boxing hat on, I'm going to have to go with Cacace because his story is a bit similar, not similar, but like he's had to come through and fight his way there and pull outs and injuries, and he finally got his chance and he took it. Josh Warrington's tasted that high, the you know, being at the top, being world champion, selling out arenas. It's just how much hunger does he really have left? Do you know what I mean? And I think Cacace might be hungry. I'm gonna go Cacace.